All right. Part about, you've been to a lot of readings, right? And there was a great essay, which I will recommend to you, written in 1992, Can Poetry Matter? And it's by Dana Gioia, Gioia. And he had this recommendation that when you put on an event, it should have a mixture of things. You should read other people who aren't there, or your favorite poets, or maybe have some music or some conversation. So that's my guide for here, having Kelly play the harp. You'll get to meet some people who do some great work. One of my teachers, Lorraine Stern, is here, and we'll introduce her in a second, or not second, in a little bit at the end of this act. But one of the other things I wanted to do is just have a little conversation, unscripted, with my dear friend who does Writing from the Soul, Jane Brunette. So Jane, would you? Can you help us set up the mic so we get two people? This is Jane. Oh, a little introduction to Jane. She showed up in my writing class when I was teaching on 63rd Street, so that would have to have been like 2006. I can't believe I've been teaching writing for 28 years now. And anyway, Jane came to the first class and did one of our exercises, and she's like, we should just do this one exercise for 12 weeks. I've never done it, but it just revolutionized. Like, wait a minute, we don't have to have something new every single week. But Jane's was already writing and publishing, and she's gone on to found Flaming Seed and Writing from the Soul, which she'll tell you about. Hi, Jane. You want to switch here? Okay.
Now it's on. Yes. Hi there. So I'm really happy to be here. Andy asked me to read from my very first book. I hope that doesn't mean he doesn't like any of my other books. But actually, once he said that, it was really fun to go back inside of it, because a lot has happened since I wrote it. I mean, it came out in 2013, and it just tells me how, I don't know, these things can keep speaking to me anyway, even if they don't speak to anyone else. And really, I feel like I've written these things to teach me, like I'm trying to teach myself. Something rises up out of me when I write in the free writes. And oftentimes, my secret is I call these poems, but they're not really. They're just my favorite parts of my free writes. Anybody can do this, you guys. Don't tell anybody, okay? But that's what they are. There were things I had to save because they were teaching me something. And I might have tweaked them a little bit here and there, or did some work on some of them, but honest to God, some of these are just as they were written. Okay, so Andy picked out 3, and it was interesting to see which ones. And they're short, so here goes. The idea that made me, or the idea that made me. Okay, I had to do it both ways. This mindscape, a tangle of trapezes that keeps me from putting feet on the earth, arms into space. And yet, the idea that ideas can hold me tight, like a grizzly or a lover, is only just another idea. This mindscape, a tangle of trapezes that keeps me from putting feet on the earth, arms into space. And yet, the idea that ideas could hold me tight, like a grizzly or a lover, is only just another idea. Okay. Without feathers. Number 2. We live in animal bodies, and sometimes they whimper. Part of the experience here. I am without feathers. My body calls me inside. Only this will make me transparent. Otherwise, my cells are little bricks with cracked mortar, a crumbling building of self. I stumble through the sacred, not wanting advice. Without feathers. Okay, here's another little short one. Andy said this was his favorite. I hope that doesn't say anything about him. Okay.
Everything says something about
It's true. All right, this one's called Won't Let Go. And I wrote this this poem and a number of these other ones, when I was on retreat in the Andes Mountains. I'm kind of a hermit meditator. I go up for 6 months by myself and just meditate and whatever. And so I was up there when I wrote this one, so it'll tell you something about where it came from. Won't let go. I have been a weasel in my dark hole, the cabin fogged in, damp. Something in me hangs on with all my teeth to a bone I don't even want to chew. I'd like to tame my inner weasel, but I hear they are dangerous, crazy little beings with a grip that won't let go. Anybody relate?
Read that one again.
I'll read that one more time.
Read it again.
I have been a weasel in my dark hole, the cabin fogged in, damp. Something in me hangs on with all my teeth to a bone I don't even want to chew. I'd like to tame my inner weasel, but I hear they are dangerous, crazy little beings with a grip that won't let go. Yeah. And just as a surprise, because they were short, I'm adding one little one as a prompt, which is how I ended this book, because it's hard to end on the weasel. I'm sorry. It's just hard to... Okay. And this one's called No Map to This Territory. Now I'll stop pretending that I know what I'm doing, know anything about what is happening here. Steps alone make the trail and leave only footprints. No one has gone this way before. No one has written a field guide to my life. Now I'll stop pretending that I know what I'm doing, know anything about what is happening here. Steps alone make the trail and leave only footprints. No one has gone this way before. No one has written a field guide to my life. And so, in some ways, I think that's what we're all doing when we write our own books. A little bit of field guide in here, I can guarantee it, because when I came back and read these again, I was like, oh, thank you. Thanks for writing that, Jane. I wish I could remember my insights, you know. Anyway, okay, so there we are. Thank you.
I was really hoping Jane would come, but she can be a hermit, and she agreed, so it's really a special treasure. Hi, all of you. Carolyn, hi, who've just come. So this is a little bit of a conversation. So what is this? So Jane teaches classes as well, and has a little press called The Flaming Seed. But one of the classes is relaxing into the unknown, and I don't know. The unknown just makes me so tense. What do you mean, relaxing into the unknown? What does that have to do with writing?
What does that have to do with writing? Everything. Well, everything's the unknown, right? I mean, we live in a mystery. This whole thing is a mystery. Do you know what this is, really? No, really. I mean, come on. Do you know what this is?
I don't.
We call it a finger.
We call it a finger.
We call it a finger.
Uh-huh.
But, I mean, isn't that inadequate to call this thing a finger? I mean, where the hell did this come from? Who thought this baby up? You know, this is a mystery we live in, and so I guess when I think about the unknown, it's like relaxing into the unknown with writing. We kind of have to do that with the whole thing. I mean, we were just tossed here as babies through some random chimney and had to figure out how to get along with whoever lived there, you know. And we didn't know anything about what was going on, right? Or maybe more than I know now that I heard what Kathy wrote about the neonatal. You know, those babies might know more than we think. Yeah. So a writing class called The Unknown. Is this poetry? Is it fiction? And people always ask me, what kind of writing do you teach? Yeah, okay. Well, actually, it's improvisational soul writing. That's what I'm going to call it, because it evolved. I started it right at the beginning of the pandemic, and it's actually a group. It's not really a class. Mm-hmm. I can't really teach classes because I don't really know anything about writing. But there's a there's like a circle of people that came together,
Uh-huh.
and we started at the beginning of the pandemic, so everybody knew what the unknown was then. We were all kind of freaked out, and we started to just say, well, let's see if we can just create a place where we can relax and enjoy and not have any criticism and whatever it is, and just like see what happens if we just play. And over time, certain people stayed, and we got more and more relaxed together. And we never know what's going to happen, really. I mean, we just start writing, and then the prompts come out of our writings, and we share each other's stuff. So I'll read them back, like, oh, here's a bunch of different things that struck me, and then all of a sudden everybody's writing from other people's images, and they're all mixed together. And by the end, we wrote some kind of symphony. And it's so
people are stealing each other's words?
Yeah, they're stealing each other's words. It's great.
Plagiarism?
Yeah, I encourage it.
The most important thing about writing is never steal anything from anybody.
Yeah, I totally encourage plagiarism. I said steal everything. They have to agree to that when they come. Yeah, we steal each other's images.
Sign a waiver.
Sign a waiver. We're going to steal your images. And what's funny is, people have published books and stuff that are in this group, and they've used each other's images, but you would never know it. I mean, it's like my image might show up in somebody else's book, but I wouldn't recognize it as such. I mean, they took and used it. It's like, use it. Use what you get. Why aren't we sharing this stuff?
Because it's mine. I thought it up.
Okay, keep your copyright.
But do you have trouble getting people to relax around that?
No, not at all. Actually, the people that I'm in it, that are in the group, they love it. I mean, we're just playing. And it all comes out rich, and everybody's voice gets even more amplified by having the sharing happen, because it's so free. I mean, at least that's how I feel about it. I mean, Bruce is in the circle, so he might not like it as much as I do, but I think he does. Yeah. So we just swim around in that. And that's how, but I guess when I think about writing, like writing and relaxing in the unknown, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than what we do in the circle. It's, how can we know what we think until we're relaxed? Relax that top layer of our mind, that trapeze, right? And get a little bit below the trapeze. It's deep play, just like one layer down, 2 layers down. That's all. That's kind of what I mean. That's where the relaxation matters. Yeah.
I once read this piece of writing that said interviews are predatory. I was like, what? But I realized there is a certain aspect of it, like the interviewer is sort of like, and then what's the next question? So I thought I would not do that format here. So
thank you.
Feel free to predate.
What is play to you?
To predate me.
What is play to you, Andy?
What is play to me?
What is play in the terms of the relaxing, the unknown? Do you relax in the unknown when you're playing? You're an improviser.
What is play? I have to define it.
Just show it.
Just show it.
Just do it.
I have to be creative now.
I'm not putting you on the spot, am I?
Yeah. No, that's good. I don't know. What is play? Play is running around playing tag. There's a game, a version of tag that when you're about to be tagged, if you shout the name of somebody else, someone else, not...
You're it!
That person becomes it.
Right.
Right? So, right behind you, somebody else is it, right? So there's this, quick moving around of, what's happening. So there's a disequilibrium, I would say, in what I try to do. I try to mix things up in such a way that you really don't know what is the next thing that's going to happen. And I've actually had a few people be somewhat disquieted by that.
Yeah.
Because they want free writing to flow, and I'm throwing some baffles in the way. Baffles in the sense of a wind tunnel, kind of it kind of flows around it. So we might shift genres to, and not just fiction and poetry, but one of our genres is a prissy hissy fit.
Right.
Okay, now take your topic and write it as a prissy hissy fit. Or as a surrealist play, and then you write for 5 minutes as that, and then you do a to-do list, or barked orders, or dream text, or a prayer, and you mix them all up. So, but it's also, I think, sort of about accessing different parts of your brain, right? Because, a prissy hissy fit is actually probably a neurobiological location in the right hemisphere somewhere.
Can you get that removed?
It would be nice. You can only do it to other people.
Okay.
So that's Or
well, so even when I hear you talking, I'm like, see, you know how to relax in the unknown. That's why I loved your class. I went in there, and it's like the very first thing. I was like, whoa, this is amazing. It was so much fun. He was constantly throwing something new at me and making me go around it. That's exactly what it was. And it was fun. And so you teach that way. I mean, you have to relax in the unknown with Andy, or you're going to be tense all the time.
Diplodocus.
Diplodocus?
Diplodocus.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I think it's a dinosaur, but what does
like
it mean? That's the question. I don't know. Just throw words in.
Okay, Diplodocus.
We're made of tongues and teeth and larynx and glottals and plosives and we're this fantastic being that is our articulation structure is connected to
Kinetics.
our kinetics. Kinetics. And our inner lizard and our inner banana slug. I mean, we all. That's our great.
Don't forget the mustard.
The mustard that you used to be. So that's like. We actually are this conglomeration of sound making that goes back not just centuries, not just millennium, and we used to be able to really understand the monkeys.
Right.
And monkeys actually. This is actually my novel, which I might read from a little later. Monkeys can tell each other where the snake is.
How do they do it?
In the trees. Apparently, it has something to do with the distance of the length of their cries and the distance between each cry.
Cool.
Right. So we're all We're there's a post-structuralist. Some people call it postmodern text thing that we're. Idea that we are all sites, S-I-T-E, sites for intertext. That means we are always being written by our mom and our dad. We're always being written by this weasel that refuses to let go, which I wanted to ask you more about the weasel. So all of these things have flown through our consciousness to create it, and they just pop out of our mouths, and it's only when we're in a regulated, bureaucratized, boundary-kept, gate-kept, mindset, kind of a cattle paddock of consciousness that we don't have any freedom to, just stand up in a microphone and say Diplodocus or mustard, right? So.
But on the other hand, Andy.
Yes.
Just on the other hand, because I just realized I have in here, preparing for my reading at Andy's event, I thought I was going to write a whole free write. I mean, this is it, guys. What can I say? I didn't know what to do. So I said, preparing for Andy's event, writing his play, what makes play happen? Openness and limits. Dancing together, right? Okay, so if there's no rules of the game, there's no game. So the thing is that you can make up the rules, right? So that's what I started to feel into, that it's an interplay of openness and limits. If it's just open, then we're just going gobbledygook and we're not communicating, right? Mm. So, and that's one of the things that you do, right? You there's this open quality, but then there's a game going on. So, and I'm going to toss you this, see what you do. But if I refuse the toss, then there'd be no game, right?
Yes.
Right.
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 Nice. What do we do about the weasel that won't let go?
That's a really good question. I think we relax.
Relax now.
See, here's the thing. I'm being unfair to the weasel. Because what I heard about was if a weasel is actually picked up by an eagle, like an eagle comes and drops down and picks up the weasel, then the weasel will actually sink its teeth into the eagle, and as the eagle tries to fly away and kill it. And they've actually found, I think it was Annie Dillard who found this eagle skeleton with the weasel still attached to it, with its teeth sunk right into the bone, and she couldn't even get them apart. So that's where the poem came from. It was reading Annie Dillard and that piece, and I thought, wow, that is like hanging on. That weasel's like, you're not getting away with this, buddy. So That's the weasel. Now, the rest of the time, I haven't read a lot about weasels or met them personally too often. So I ought to, because they might be really, really sweet and charming little characters who might want to play if you're not trying to kill them. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to ask one more question, which
All right.
Jane really revolutionized me about this. I still haven't crossed over to, the outer edges of your thinking on it, but it's really opened up to me. You have a little publishing imprint called Flaming Seed.
Yeah.
And you don't truck with the publishing world in any way. And many people think that writing is about publishing, or if they don't think it's about publishing, they at least think that the published writer is the better writer, or that, if you don't get it out to tens of thousands of people, it's less important. And I don't know, I'm just wondering if you could talk to the people here about kind of that issue and where you've gone to with that dread thing called self-publishing, and people feel ashamed about it, or they look down on people who self-publish.
Right.
And then maybe I had that whole New Yorker story, the person who. Yeah.
Oh,
but I don't know if you want to bring that in.
Oh, I didn't even think of that, but I could. Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll
All
close
right.
with that.
Okay, so my New Yorker story. I was years ago. I worked in publishing for a while, and before, even when I was doing that, I thought I wanted to be a writer, and I thought that meant that I had to publish things, and I thought that meant that I had to go to writers' conferences. But the truth is that I hated writers' conferences, and I especially hated when you'd go to these writers' conferences and you would submit a piece to somebody who didn't know you, and a group of people would sit there and tell you everything that was wrong with it from their point of view, and then they would say that was like a favor they were doing you, and then you would leave, and they didn't know you, and they didn't ask your intention for the piece or anything. And I thought, why do people do this? I mean, it's like kind of torturous. And I was at one of those things, I think it was in Iowa, and the person who was leading the group, she was a published writer, she was well respected, and she had published her very first short story that ever was published in the New Yorker, which of course is supposed to be so impressive, right? At least at that time, that was an important thing, or a good thing. I don't know if it is now, but it was then. So she said to me on the break, she said, your story was really special. You have talent. She said, I'd like to mentor you. Me? And I'm like, really? Me? You're kidding, this little girl, this little working class girl from Chicago, why would I get mentored by you? You're important, right? And she says, I want to help you write a New Yorker story. And I said, what's a New Yorker story? And she says, well, this is how I got published. I went through and I studied every issue that the current editor had put out, studied everything that she published, did an analysis of how many nouns and verbs were in each thing, and practiced until I could get that kind of feeling. And she said, and then I submitted it, and she said, I had to submit it 20 times, but then she finally took it. And she said, that started my whole literary career. And she goes, I've already done the research, so it won't be so hard for you. I'll just show you what to do. And I was like, whoa. I took her card and I never called her, and I'm like, this sounds like a deal with the devil, And I thought, maybe this helped her soul. I don't know. I'm not going to judge her. I mean, it might have been exactly what she needed to do. But for me, it was like, whew. And so after that, I just made a decision that I didn't want to be part of that anymore. And I wanted to learn how to write for myself, for my deeper self, so that part could come out to the world. And I didn't care who read it. I wasn't going to care. Not that I don't go through periods of caring and think it's a big waste of time, and everybody does that. But it's like, in the end, it just felt like it was such a stark reality to me. I just stopped publishing at that time. And I pretty much left the publishing industry too. I'm like, this is fucked. That's how I felt. And so I've published.
Why is it fucked, if I can press you on that?
It's, at this point, it was for me. I'm not going to say it is for everybody, because I've been a book lover since the time I was a child, and these amazing books are published, and they've kept me alive. But on the other hand, look what's happening now. I mean, the main publishers, you used to be able to look at the New York Times bestseller list and find something you want to read. Now it's all influencers writing junk. It's like bizarre. So it's very, very hard to dig through and actually, and you have to be a marketer to have a publisher look at you. And I can't even blame the publishers because they have trouble. They're trying to keep it together. They can't make any money on this anymore. So anyway, it's a weird world. It's going through a big change, right? And meantime, you read about something like, there was a book I just ordered that was written by a woman in 1932. They wrote about it in The Guardian. She wrote this little story, this little novel, a very slim little novel, and it was so amazing, but it went nowhere at the time. It was right before Hitler and all of that, and it was just a story about this family and what they were going through before that. And somebody discovered a single copy somewhere, this woman from Persephone Press in England. And she's like, oh my God, this is what's happening. This is kind of what's happening in the world right now. And so she says, people ought to read this little story. So she published it. And now this woman's long dead, but her book has now it was written about in The Guardian, it's been published. I ordered a copy, I went and found it, even though it's only in England right now. I wanted the real one, so I ordered one to be shipped over. And it's like, all of a sudden, she was like one of those books on the back table. And we don't know who it's for. We don't know if we're writing, I don't know if I wrote this book. I wrote it for me, and it did something for me, and there might be one sentence in here it does for you. And if there is, please take a picture. You don't have to buy the book. I don't care. But then it might be found 1,000 years from now, and they might think this is what happened at this time, in the history of humanity. I don't know, or it might just become compost. It doesn't matter. It's part of the whole. And I just really believe that if we actually take expression and manifest something that's real from our soul, it has an impact. It has an impact. Even if it's just on us, it changes us. So anyway, that's how I see it.
And you help people publish their books, and you do book design as well?
No, I don't. Please don't tell people that.
She doesn't help people publish their books, and she doesn't do book design.
No, I used to do that, but because I was a book designer for years. But the truth is, I just can't spend that much time on the computer. I just can't do it. So, sorry, I can't help you with that part. But I do. If anybody, I do work with people one-on-one if they want to start to dig under and reach some of that stuff and toss away some of the stuff on top to help you get to a deeper place with your writing. I'm not doing that much teaching. Andy's the one that does the community stuff. I'm really one-on-one, and I just have this one writing group that I love to improvise with. So it's much more for me about the one-on-one.
Shouldn't I be having scarcity mentality that Jane's stealing my students right now?
But I'm not. Because nothing would replace this dude, right?
No, give it all away.
Nothing would ever replace this dude.